On the bench today is a Champion dual fuel 3500 watt or 3150 watt generator. The two differences would be if you're running the unit on gasoline or on propane. So my brother-in-law has dropped this off and wanted me to take a look at it. It's not starting, and so I thought I would bring you along for the journey. I've asked him about this. Apparently this is where you would connect the propane. I don't have a hose that would fit that, and so I've asked him if he has one. I wanted to just try it and see if that would be an option. You know, if you could not get the unit to fire on gas, if you could possibly you know, use the propane. So we'll see about that, and hopefully he'll produce that hose. So let's get going on this. Okay, and here's our on-off switch. We want to make sure that is set to run. It looks like you've got some options here related to gas or LP. Kind of a shutout thing, which is pretty clever. If you turn that turns the gas off, or the gasoline off, and allows you to switch this over and run in LP mode right here. So I guess you can't have both switches on at the same time, which is smart. And so there, that's ready to go. Let's see back here. The choke, that's normal run, that's half, that's full. Let's try that. Nothing on half, and nothing on run. And we'll check the oil. And it's not too bad at all. And I want to take a look at the spark plug. I wonder, this damage here is kind of concerning. I don't think this thing is that old, so I don't know if that's just like some kind of a badger or something got in there. Let's see here. So this is kind of interesting. I could not get any of my regular socket wrenches to fit in there for the spark plug, so I used the tool to my generator, and that's the only thing that I could get in there to turn that with. Okay, and so not too bad there. We'll see if we got some spark on this. Okay, we got spark. Based on this, I feel like we're dealing with a carburetor issue. So I'm going to take some 50-to-1 lawnmower gas and just kind of squirt some down the yap. And maybe by doing this, we can avoid having to clean out a carburetor. Maybe that's just enough to kind of, you know, pull some gunk loose and then go on down the road. Not too much. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, so it does run. It just is completely obstructed. So let's see if we can't take this off and clean it out a bit. Okay, and we had to take this off just to get access to this one, to that nut back there. And this hose you can just kind of push back through, get it out of the way. Same for this one. Oh, something here. Okay, yeah, you've got something right here. And if you look right here on the back of this, there is a small little bolt there that we're going to need to remove. This is probably a good time for us to go ahead and turn off the fuel to the carburetor as well. And let's kind of persuade this out just a little bit. We want to preserve that gasket if we can. There we go. We'll just hang on to that. I really like these saving my old plastic containers for just such an occasion where you need to take the take things like this off, take hoses off, and dump fuel. This makes it tidier. And that fuel doesn't look terrible, doesn't look great. Let's see, next we'll get this one right here. Uh-oh, we're gonna need that. And we'll just go ahead and set this aside. And now let's undo this linkage here. Looks like this one is in the furthest back hole. We'll just disconnect that. Let it go there. And then this one pulls straight up. And we appear to have some sort of a sensor on the bottom here. And it looks like these are just a couple of Allen screws that we'll need to remove. Okay, that appears to be some sort of a needle jet there. Interesting. Okay, and so now we have our carburetor removed. we just kind of need to figure out how to get into this bowl, and let's just see what we can clean out on this. Alright, and we'll remove this 14mm bolt from the bottom, hopefully. That's going to give us access to the float bowl. Okay, wonderful. And there is a lot of funk in there. It doesn't look like good gas, so that's probably going to be the culprit here. So let's get this dumped out and start cleaning up. And then also, this is pretty nasty there too, and I believe that should be. You should be able to go straight through there, and it's not. It's clogged, so that'll need to be cleaned out as well. Let's see. We can test this if you, on your float. Let's see if you're able to blow through it. So like, all right, that's not going to let me blow through there, but then this, I can. That tells me that I don't know if you guys are able to see that, but that tells me that the needle in there is functioning correctly. I may leave the float alone in this and just clean the rest of this and go from there. And carburetor cleaner is pretty rough on the rubber parts that you would have, like in here, or where was that one? Yeah, that one was in there, and then I think this one was on the outside of that. So you want to take little rubber parts like this off before you use your carb cleaner on them. And I'll make it a straw and kind of stick that in there and get it better. Okay, and we want to get this main jet out here. I think that's what that is. So we go ahead and we put a flathead screwdriver in there. And unscrew that dude. And I'm not sure if you can hear that, but my neighbor is mowing his yard for the 5th time this week. So that's cool. All right. So we'll clean those pieces up, and probably a good time for us to go ahead. We'll remove this float. Pull this out like that, hang on to that. Now this whole thing can come up, and you can see your little needle valve dangling from that. Don't lose that. We'll examine that here in a minute, and then we can really kind of get some carb cleaner all around in here. One thing you want to do though this O-ring on the outside. Probably want to get some kind of a pick in there and pull that thing out so that it's not getting hit by the carb cleaner. So maybe like a, I don't know if my screwdriver will do it. Yeah. Just kind of do that right there. Get that thing out of there. And your carb kit, if you have a carb kit, will come with a new one probably. So you do that. We're trying to do this on the cheap though, and so we're going to try to reuse all of our gaskets and the like. At this point, I think I'm just going to spray carb cleaner in everything that looks like it needs some. So we'll kind of start here. Doesn't hurt to clean up the outside of it a little bit as well. Okay, and then we're just going to let that dry, and then we'll reassemble everything. I ran out of carb cleaner, so I had to switch over to brake parts cleaner, but I think it's about the same with the exception of the brake parts cleaner maybe just a little bit easier on plastics and other materials, but I think it's roughly the same. I think that should be opening up. There we go. All right, that's finally open. All right, looking good there. Okay, I think we can go ahead and put this thing back in there. So leave that like that, and then this like so. Okay, that's tight. And I was going to show you too this needle jet right here. You can see the little point on that thing. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. If it looked more rounded and wasn't as sharp, that might be cause for concern. But we actually already tested this whenever I was able to blow into the carburetor whenever the float was down, and then it stopped my airflow whenever the float was up. So this thing's good, both by the way that it looks and the test. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this O-ring back on here. by the same token, we're okay to put our needle valve back in, and then this little pivot bar here, we kind of have to put back through that hole. Okay, so that's lined up there, and our float is operable. What do we want to do next? Okay, we can go ahead and put this bottom screw back on the float bowl by replacing the gaskets. Oh, that one is broken. I may go see if I can find another O-ring that's about that size. Okay, so I have a collection of O-rings here. I found something kind of similar in size there, so I think that's the one I'm going to use. I need to put this whole thing back on there. And let's see if we can figure out the location of this. This right here is how we let fuel out of the float. So we want to make sure that's oriented in a good position so that you can still reach this from the from the outside of the generator. You wouldn't want to put this toward the inside of the generator. So let me take a look at this and we'll put that correctly. I think we're going to be fine if we orient the drain plug away from the inlets, because it looks like the inlets go toward the inside of the unit. So let's put this on here. Okay. Good and tight. Alright, what's next? Almost feel like we're ready to reinstall. Okay, and then we just do everything in the reverse order here. I try to be careful with that gasket there. I didn't remove it. Okay, and I really did not do much with this needle valve down here. I just kind of rubbed it with my fingers a little bit. I'm afraid to put a whole lot of solvent on that, so I think I'm just going to stick that back up in there here in a second and put those Allen screws back in there. Now, let's see if we can remember where this went. Okay. I feel like it dropped down in there somehow. Like that, yeah. Goes back there. Just kind of trying to be real delicate, real gentle. feed our tubes back in here. Okay, and the only thing left is trying to figure out how this fit in there. Is that part of it? Does it go there? Feels like. Oh, maybe it goes under there. Maybe I missed my chance. Interesting. So, if that's the case, then I need to take that whole thing. That tab right there is holding me up. Can you see that? So that tab is in the way, and I can't fit this around that spindle without that. So what I'm going to have to do is remove this box, and then we will. I'll just be able to put this back on there. Alternatively, you can just kind of bend that thing up out of your way to give you enough room, and then bend it back, which is what I think I'm going to try to do. Okay, there we go, and now we'll just bend this back down. What's going on, JH?
Not much. How you doing?
Good.
What you working on?
Okay, so I'm about to crank this thing up. I really don't want to drain the gas in it. It is, you can't see anything, but it's completely full of gas. I know it's this year's gas. You know, it hasn't been sitting up more than, maybe 6 months. My brother-in-law says that he only puts non-ethanol gas in it. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there, but I think it's going to make me feel better if I just crank it up, run it, and maybe just the instruction of running it every 2 or 3 weeks. Get out there, crank it up, run it, get the fuel out of the float bowl, and that may be what I do right now. I may go ahead and drain after I ensure that it runs. Drain the float bowl, and then it'll be ready to go here in a few weeks whenever he needs it for deer camp. Okay, so we're going to turn the fuel back on. I don't see any leaks down here. Let's go. What is that? Full choke, and see what she does. Is it on? It's on. Okay, let's see. going to call that a success. I think, you know, I'm not sure if it's running rough. If that's always kind of how this thing sounds. I'll have to ask Eddie. But other than that, I feel pretty good about it. I'm going to drain the carburetor. To do that, I won't bore you with all that, but basically you want to turn your fuel back off over here, and then you'll open this and let the gas that's in the float bowl drain out into something, and then that's going to keep that area clean. So anyway, if the video helped, please give it a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing. We got a lot of great stuff on the channel and more in the kitty. Hope to see you there.